You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Or in 2022, you die and then the woke mob will try and make you a villain anyway. I came across this article the other day on Zero Hedge, and it's titled "Why Are Leftists Obsessed with Destroying Hero Culture?" Now, I think this is a really conservative site. I just want to preface this whole video by saying, if you're on the left, I don't necessarily include you in with this like woke, ultra far left extremist sort of people. The way I view it is more of there's the woke, and then there's everyone else, which includes people who are left, centrist, center right, far, whatever it is. So that's like going forward. I mean, but Zero Hedge is obviously pretty significantly conservative, so they're just going to say left versus conservative. But anyway, it does bring up some really interesting points, pertains to a lot about what we talk about on this channel, specifically why they are so obsessed with destroying hero cultures. In comic books, we're kind of big on the hero, on the villain. So yeah, you've got this famous quote here: "Live long enough to see yourself become the villain." And that's truer today than it ever seems to be, with the changing tides of what is deemed acceptable and non-acceptable over on social media, especially. It starts here by saying there's also the issue of historical revision and the fact that heroes of yesterday might be considered terrorists of tomorrow. We see that with the founding fathers tearing down all the statues and that sort of stuff. But that can happen to anyone. You don't have to be a founding father. You can just be a person who believed something that was perfectly acceptable a year ago, and you said that somewhere, and now the tides have changed a little bit, and you are primed for cancellation. The article goes on to say what they care about is the deconstruction of heroes, in part because if you can destroy the character of a hero, you might be able to also destroy what they stood for in the process. And if you can destroy the ideals of a society, it becomes a lot easier then to control that society. And doesn't it feel like that's the whole purpose behind all of this? The what is it? Politics is downstream from culture thing. Does society not feel like lately that it's changing at this breakneck speed? And so much of it, when we stop to think about it, has its roots in a complete rewrite of our values and the way we structure everything and the representation of those values in culture. I really feel like that's been going at a crazy pace lately. Goes on here, leftists are also targeting the very foundations of the heroic archetypes and mythologies by attacking hero representations in our society. They seek to change the nature of heroism by hijacking cultural pillars and erasing beloved stories and characters in order to reboot them in the image of the leftist cult. This is usually done under the cover of diversity and equity as a means to obscure the true agenda. Now, isn't that so? Where have we heard that before? Everywhere. Everywhere across all TV shows and movies, comics, games. I mean, it's completely ubiquitous. It goes on to say woke ideology does not reflect our modern era in any way. It's actually a masked version of our old social models of collectivism and communism, specifically social Marxism. I brought that up when I made a Sandman video a couple of months back, and yeah, a lot of the comments were like, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy, my man? How can you make these connections, these threads? These threads are there to be seen. All you have to do is step back and take a look at it from a wider view there." So the article goes on. The political left's obsession with injecting their own cultural Marxism into every new entertainment product as a means to saturate the media space with their ideology. When they say they want to rehash old stories and old heroes, but rewrite them in order to reflect the world of today, what they're really doing is erasing past ideas and principles and eliminating choice. They want you to see the world from, they don't want you to see the world from different points of view. You are only allowed to see it from their point of view. And that is the exact opposite of good storytelling. This has popped up, I think yesterday or a couple of days ago. Wizard of Oz to get a LGBTQ or LGBTQ inclusive, racially diverse remake. As I mentioned earlier, Netflix, The Sandman divides the Liberty Q fans and sparks passionate debate on representation. See, this Wizard of Oz thing, it's like, okay, fine, cool, whatever. If that's what it's going to be, you might think, well, maybe they'll stick to the story. What inevitably happens is the same thing that happened to Sandman. It just became very little about the story, the characters, the Sandman, everything. And all you could notice was the insane ramped up to 100 levels of representation. It really just took over the whole show. So yeah, it's not really about like what this article said here. It's not really about just seeing different points of view. It's about only seeing their point of view and really forcing that onto existing stories. It goes on to say diversity is meaningless. It serves no purpose in terms of heroic representations. People identify with actions and deeds and principles, not skin color. Leftists in Hollywood do not actually care about diversity of skin color. They only care about two things: using minorities as a crutch to justify poor storytelling and lazy productions, and using them as a cudgel or a weapon when they face criticism. Check this out. This is that new, what is it? Woman King movie. You got that Little Mermaid thing as well. The attacks on Little Mermaid and the Woman King are unified by a disdain for black women. Underneath the backlash lies an uncomfortable truth. Some people think black women shouldn't be at the center of these stories. So yeah, if you don't like these movies, if you have anything critical to say about them, you are a racist. That's what it means by using these things as a cudgel. So they advertise them, mind you. They fan bait you. They race bait you before they even come out, trying to drum up manufactured controversy all over social media. And then when these movies or these projects, TV shows, whatever it is, comics fail or don't do as well as they thought they might, then out comes the cudgel. You're all racist. Yeah. And that's the explanation they've used. And you can tell that they don't care. Here's Isom by Eric July. Eric July is a black man. I don't know if you've noticed this. And he raised $3.7 million in a few months on his comic book campaign here for Isom. You would think he would be the poster boy for the woke left's celebrations. Look at this man who's just absolutely crushing comics right now. No, actually, quite the contrary. They hate him, and they've been spending months trying to find any way to diminish, belittle, tear this guy down. Because why? Well, he doesn't share their worldview, doesn't share their politics. That's how we know that they don't actually care about what they preach. Where am I up to here? Diversity and inclusion is the new slave plantation that leftist elites in Hollywood use to farm virtue points and ESG loans. That's all there is to it. If they actually respected the idea of presenting diverse heroes, they would create original minority heroes or write them well. Or they would pick minority heroes from real history and avoid implanting current day woke politics into that era. Yeah, that's the new thing. It's like everything has to be ham-fisted, like twisted and molded into today's ideology. It really does seem like they can't look at any element of history without first putting it through their multiple weird, strange lenses. And here's, like we said, here's a new, black hero. Do they love it? Do they support it? No, absolutely, they do not. Here's a really important point. It's long been my contention that leftist ideology is rooted in appeals to narcissism. I want to show you this. Where is it? Here. This is that Amelia Clark comic, came out, I don't know, a year ago or something. And someone asked on Twitter, what is this? What kind of writing is this? What sort of storytelling is this? And we see this woman, she's like, she's really special. She's in color. She's dressed up to the nines. She's, quirky and interesting. Everyone else is stuffy and buttoned up, buttoned down, or whatever it is, and like they're desaturated. And she's just like plonked all of this wall of text. This is not what, by the way, anyone who doesn't like read comics much, this is not what they should look like. It doesn't normally look like this. They're just like, you just slam these walls of texts over the top of the art. And notice, like, here it is, like, this is my name. I am. I. And it's just a big screed about just really mundane, uninteresting, unimportant things about this character. Someone asked on Twitter, what style of writing is this? And I was just like, straight away, this is narcissism. This is narcissistic. This is me, I. And yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, that a lot of what they view as heroes is actually just appeals to narcissism. Here's a great line here. A person that has embraced the victim mentality, the I, me, can never be a hero or imagine how a hero would act. And that's when you start to think, well, okay, who are the heroes of the woke left? Here's one right here. This guy, George Floyd. This guy has murals all over the place. They've put up statues of this guy, haven't they? Have they looked into his past, who he was? Regardless of what happened to him, this is not a hero. This is not a hero. But this is the thing here. They, twist what a hero is and what a villain is. It goes on. Our media world is overrun with woke ideologies. Over the years, the depictions of heroes and villain have become utterly twisted. This is exactly what I was just saying. Heroes act selfishly. All right, okay, so they're saying now heroes act selfishly with ego and hubris, and the villains are usually depicted as misunderstood people that are only reacting to the trespasses of society or are ridiculous exaggerations of conservative and liberty activists. Yeah, this is it. Like it's the complete sort of flipping upside down of what a hero is and what a villain is supposed to be. Only in the past couple of years has there been mass pushback against the agenda. But there's still a long way to go before things can change for the better. Here's something right here. Top Gun Maverick, now the biggest sequel of all time. I was watching a video on Midnight's Edge the other day, how when this first started becoming popular, the kind of, all the articles were about how this is a right-wing, far-right production. This is like really energizing the right. And it became so big. It became so popular that they couldn't ignore it. It just wasn't possible to argue any longer that this is purely just the far right, because everyone was enjoying it. It was making so much money. Like I said earlier, it's not necessarily left versus right. It's the woke mob versus everyone else. And to have the sort of success that Maverick had, it really has to be everyone else. So they kind of flipped at one point, and now they're celebrating it as this, it's this big non-political, apolitical success story. But, we know what it actually is. This is traditional, heroic fare. It is not the twisted, deconstructed, hateful sort of hero that the woke mob is all about. And it goes on to say, like, how we're really on the back foot here by ignoring the culture war. Conservatives ignored the future. I don't think we're doing that anymore. I think in 2022, on all kinds of fronts, music, movies, TV shows, definitely comic books, people are hitting back against this. They don't want deconstructed heroes anymore. They don't want the undermining of our society fed back to us in propaganda. Finishes here by saying it's important not to underestimate the power of media and culture. There's a reason why leftists are so obsessed with it. By changing all our heroes to villains, they hope to change our values and our behaviors. They aren't just rewriting movies or characters or comic books. They're trying to rewrite us. The only way to stop this is to identify the threat, neutralize the propaganda, and bring back legitimate hero culture by writing it once again with our own hands and our own deeds. That's exactly what we're doing over here in Comicsgate. This is CG Now. We have a whole bunch of books available for you to buy right now and read. They'll get shipped out straight away. Jump over here and, yeah, support creators who are trying to do exactly that. You won't find the strange, weird, propaganda style deconstructed heroes in these stories. This is just, I mean, it's a whole, you got such a variety going on here of different kind of stories, non-woke, mostly apolitical, all great stuff. Hey, here's mine, Lucent Waking Dream. We still have some copies available. I also have a sign up to my next campaign, Painted Death. If you want to sign up to that, we've got over 1,000 signups. That would be much appreciated, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, consider subscribing, becoming a member, get the bell, and all that good stuff. I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.